You've been lied to. We all have. We were told that six figures, $100,000 a year, was the golden ticket, the finish line, the point where you finally made it, the point where you could breathe easy, buy that house, raise your family, and live the American dream without a constant knot in your stomach. You bought into it. You worked your tail off. You studied, you networked, you sacrificed, and you hit it. You finally broke that six-figure ceiling. Maybe you're pulling in $100,000, maybe even $120,000, $150,000. And yet, you feel broke. You're living paycheck to paycheck. You're watching your savings account stagnate, your dreams of home ownership drift further away. You're stressed about every unexpected expense. You're not crazy. You're not bad with money. You're experiencing the six-figure lie. And today, we're going to expose exactly why that $100,000 salary, once a symbol of comfortable prosperity, has become the ultimate middle-class trap. This isn't about blaming you. It's about giving you the math and the roadmap to escape. Think back, even just a few decades. In 1980, a household earning the equivalent of $100,000 today was firmly upper middle class. That income bought a comfortable life, a house, a new car every few years, vacations, disposable income, and a solid savings buffer. It was a clear path to financial security. The American dream was tangible. Fast forward to 2025, to where we are right now. You're making $100,000 a year, perhaps more, but instead of feeling secure, you're looking at your bank account, your bills, your depleted savings, and you're wondering what went wrong. Why does this coveted milestone feel less like a victory and more like a treadmill?
The truth is, the goalposts have moved, but no one bothered to tell us. That $100,000 salary you worked so hard for, after just 5 years of average inflation, it's already lost nearly 20% of its purchasing power. So if you hit $100K in 2020, today it feels more like making $82,000. And that's just the start of the problem. We're battling an invisible enemy that's systematically eroding our wealth, our security, and frankly, our sanity. This enemy has 3 heads: inflation, taxation, and lifestyle creep. And together they form the perfect prison for the modern middle class. Let's start with the silent assassin, inflation. This isn't just some abstract economic term you hear on the news. This is the reason your grocery bill for the same items has jumped 30%. The reason gas prices feel like a cruel joke, and the reason a starter home in many major cities costs double what it did a decade ago. Inflation is a tax on everyone, but it disproportionately punishes savers and fixed income earners. It's like having a hole in your financial bucket. No matter how much water you pour in, your salary, it's constantly leaking out. And here's the kicker. The official Consumer Price Index, or CPI, often quoted by the government, rarely reflects the true cost of living for most Americans. Why? Because the CPI often downplays the categories where you spend the most. They might tell you inflation is 3%, but your rent went up 15%, your health insurance premiums by 10%, and groceries by 8%. They call this substitution bias, assuming you'll buy chicken when beef gets too expensive. But what if you need both? What if you have to pay for childcare? Let's run the math, shall we? You're making $100,000. This isn't just about the overall CPI, it's about the big 3 that drain every middle-class wallet.
Housing. Housing costs have absolutely exploded. The median home price in the U.S. has soared, making a 20% down payment on a $400,000 home, a modest starter home in many areas, an $80,000 hurdle. Factor in rising interest rates, and your monthly mortgage payment is significantly higher than just a few years ago. In many metro areas, that $100K salary means you're still renting, and your rent payment alone can eat up 30–40% of your gross income. Healthcare. The cost of healthcare is a runaway train. Premiums, deductibles, out-of-pocket maximums, they're all climbing faster than wages. A family health insurance plan can easily cost $15,000 to $20,000 a year, a huge chunk coming directly out of your paycheck or your employer's contribution that could otherwise be salary. Education and childcare. If you have kids, this is a financial black hole. Childcare for one infant can cost upwards of $15,000 to $20,000 a year, often rivaling college tuition.
And speaking of college, student loan debt is a colossal burden, forcing millions to delay home ownership, marriage, and retirement savings. The average student loan payment is a heavy weight on that six-figure salary. So when you factor in the true cost of these necessities, your $100,000 salary is already worth far less than its face value before you even pay taxes. Now that we've talked about the invisible thief, let's talk about the highly visible one, taxes. You get that $100,000 offer letter and you think, okay, $100,000 a year. Then you get your first paycheck. Surprise! The government, quite rightly, takes its cut. But the sheer volume of that cut, especially for high earners, can be a brutal awakening. Let's break it down for a single person in a state with average state income tax.
Federal income tax. At $100,000, you're squarely in the 22% or 24% marginal federal tax bracket. But remember, this is marginal. Your effective federal tax rate will be lower, perhaps around 15 to 18%. FICA taxes, Social Security and Medicare. This is a non-negotiable 7.65% cut from every dollar you earn, up to a certain cap for Social Security. And your employer pays another 7.65% on your behalf, which is part of your overall compensation package. State income tax. This varies wildly from 0% in states like Texas and Florida to over 10% in California and New York. Let's assume an average of 5% state tax. Local income tax. Some cities or localities have their own income taxes, adding another layer. So let's do a simplified calculation. $100,000 gross income minus 15 to 18% effective federal tax equals $82,000 to $85,000. Minus 7.65% FICA equals $74,350 to $77,350. Minus approximately 5% state tax equals $69,000 to $73,000. From $100,000, you're already down to roughly $69,000 to $73,000 net income. And that's before health insurance premiums, 401k contributions, or any other deductions your employer might take. Your actual take-home pay can easily be closer to $65,000. Now here's where it gets really insidious, the raise trap and the middle-class donut hole. You get a raise! Hooray! Your salary goes from $90,000 to $100,000. You think you'll have an extra $10,000. But then you realize that extra $10,000 is taxed at your highest marginal rate. So if you are already in the 22% federal bracket, that extra $10K only nets you $7,800 federally. Add in state and FICA, and you might only see $6,000 to $6,500 of that $10,000 raise. But it gets worse. For many middle-income earners, a raise can push them past benefit cliffs. These aren't just for low-income families. A small raise could make you ineligible for subsidies for childcare, wiping out thousands in annual savings, tax credits for higher education, deductions for student loan interest, cheaper health insurance premiums on the marketplace. You find yourself in a middle-class donut hole. You make too much money for government assistance or certain tax breaks, but you don't make enough to access the sophisticated tax planning, investment opportunities, and wealth-building strategies available to the truly wealthy. You're paying the full retail price for existence, while others get discounts or even freebies. It feels like you're doing everything right, but getting punished for it. Even if inflation wasn't eating away your purchasing power and taxes weren't taking such a massive bite, there's a third, equally powerful force keeping you trapped: lifestyle creep. This is the insidious process where your expenses expand to meet your income. You hit 100K and suddenly you feel like you deserve better. You tell yourself, I've earned this. Let's look at the expanded American Dream Starter Pack today. Rent/mortgage. You move out of that shared apartment or upgrade to a nicer, larger place. Your rent jumps from $1,500 to $2,500. Or you finally try to buy a house and that $400K home with a $3,000 monthly payment feels like a stretch. Student loans, still looming, sometimes thousands a month, making that six-figure income feel like a repayment plan. Car payment. You trade in your old car for something more reliable or more fitting for your new status.
A $600 to $800 monthly payment is now common. Groceries and dining. You start buying organic, eating out more often, ordering DoorDash for convenience because you're too busy. That $400 grocery bill becomes $800. Subscriptions and services. The streaming services, the fancy gym membership, the online courses, the weekly meal kits, they all add up, chipping away at your disposable income. Travel and experiences. You finally start taking those vacations you dreamed of, often using credit cards or going into debt. This isn't just about being frivolous. This is about the conformity tax. We live in a society, amplified by social media, where there's immense pressure to project success. You see your peers, your colleagues, influencers living a certain way, and unconsciously, you feel compelled to keep up. The nice car, the expensive handbag, the trendy vacation, these become markers of your success. But here's the brutal truth. These aren't investments, they're consumption. And this consumption, driven by ego and societal pressure, completely devours your increased income. You might be earning more, but you're spending more, leaving your savings, investments, and overall net worth largely unchanged. You're running faster, but staying in the same place. And let's not forget the time tax. Many six-figure jobs are demanding. They come with long hours, high stress, and constant pressure. This leaves you with less time for cooking, cleaning, exercising, or even just planning your finances. So what do? You pay for convenience. You order takeout. You hire cleaners. You opt for expensive pre-made meals. You trade your money for time, which further reduces your disposable income and contributes to the feeling of being perpetually busy and broke.
The confluence of relentless inflation, high taxes, and unchecked lifestyle creep creates a phenomenon I call the golden handcuffs. You're earning a great salary, perhaps in a job you don't particularly love, but you can't leave. Why? Because your lifestyle has expanded to require that income. Your mortgage, your car payments, your childcare, your subscriptions, they all demand that six-figure paycheck. This robs you of your optionality, the freedom to take a risk, to pursue a passion project, to spend more time with family, or even just to take a lower-paying, more fulfilling job. You're trapped by your own success, forced to maintain a certain standard of living that eats up every dollar you earn. This brings us to a crucial distinction that most people miss. Income is speed, wealth is distance. Earning $100,000, $150,000, even $200,000 is fantastic speed. It means you have a high velocity of money flowing through your hands. But if that money flows out just as quickly as it comes in, you're not building distance. You're not accumulating wealth. You're running very fast on a financial treadmill, expending massive energy, but not actually getting anywhere. True wealth isn't about your salary, it's about your net worth. It's about how much you keep and how much you grow. It's about the assets you own, minus your liabilities. And for many high-income earners, that net worth remains alarmingly low because of the three traps we've discussed. Remember Parkinson's law, but applied to finance? Expenses expand to meet income. If you don't actively fight against this, your expenses will always find a way to gobble up every extra dollar you make. So if the old rules don't work, what does? How do you break free from these golden handcuffs? How do you turn that hard-earned six-figure salary into actual financial freedom? First, you need a psychological shift. You need to divorce your ego from your income. Your salary is a tool, not your identity. Your worth is not tied to the size of your paycheck or the flashiness of your car. This means actively resisting the conformity tax. Stop trying to keep up with the Joneses. They're probably trapped in the same cycle. Second, you need to play offense against inflation, taxation, and lifestyle creep. And the most powerful tool in your arsenal is what I call the asset-heavy portfolio strategy. This is about intentionally and aggressively redirecting your income away from consumption and into assets that appreciate in value and generate more income for you. It's about building stealth wealth, wealth that works for you, silently growing in the background, rather than wealth that is loudly displayed and constantly depreciating. Automate your investments. Make saving and investing non-negotiable. Set up automatic transfers from your checking account to your investment accounts the day you get paid. Treat your investments like a bill you absolutely have to pay. Hide that money from yourself before you have a chance to spend it. Artificially induce scarcity. Pretend your income is actually lower than it is. If you get a raise, don't immediately upgrade your lifestyle. Automate the entire raise into investments. Your lifestyle remains the same, but your wealth accelerates. This is how you hide money from your lifestyle creep. Focus on cash flow and appreciation. Prioritize investments that either generate cash flow like dividend stocks or rental properties, or appreciate significantly over time like broad market index funds. These are your wealth-building engines. Optimize your taxes legally. Understand your tax situation. Max out tax-advantaged accounts like 401ks, IRAs, and HSAs. These aren't just savings vehicles, they're powerful tax shields that can keep more of your money working for you. Be intentional with spending. Every dollar you spend on consumption is a dollar that isn't building your freedom. That doesn't mean never enjoying life, it means being acutely aware of where your money is going and aligning your spending with your true values, not societal pressures. The six-figure lie is designed to keep you on the treadmill, but by understanding the mechanics of this trap, the inflation, the taxes, the lifestyle creep, and by implementing an asset-heavy strategy, you can break free. You can transform that hard-earned income into real wealth and, more importantly, real freedom. If you're ready to stop feeling broke on six figures and start building genuine, lasting wealth, then you need to master the art of the asset-heavy portfolio. Like and subscribe to start building your financial escape plan. Don't let the lie win. Take control of your money and reclaim your future.